Good girls. Oh yeah, sorry. Welcome to Oireachtas Television with me, NiamhMcNamara. Today we are in question time. Yet again, the only party leader present is on Taoiseach, FrancisButlerYeats of Fianna Fáil. So a motion has just been tabled to the Dáil by a Fianna Fáil TD to skip the leaders' questions as there is only one leader present, and typically leaders' questions is from leader to leader, whereas that is now impossible. The motion has just passed the voice vote, meaning the leaders' questions will be skipped. The Ceann Comhairle can take as long as she likes to hear a point of order. She doesn't have to do it immediately. And we have former Green Party leader and now Fine Gael TD. I don't know if she's deputy leader, but she's certainly on the campaign team here with a question. She starts with, we are fortunate that Ireland is a country enshrined with an outstanding and effective judicial system. So, slightly praising the government there. However, if we want to represent great cooperation on a global stage, why hasn't the government looked at helping smaller countries that lack adequate judicial infrastructure? So Bo here coming with a more foreign affairs approach, which can be seen throughout her party with the leadership meeting recently with the Republic of France. And did they meet with someone else? Don't know, but they've been conducting foreign visits as the opposition party. However, they are not showing up to the Dáil. In my opinion, says Bo Warren, I find it ridiculous for the government to ignore this issue. Will the Taoiseach commit to proposing this policy to his cabinet? So I think Bo's question there was regarding bar transfers, which is a very common thing, something we had with, well, my government was going to do it with Canada, but group staff said no when we already agreed to it. But we had it in Oscar's term with SOBs, and I think there was one with Gibraltar as well. But obviously the sanctions all came and took that down. I didn't know if those agreements that were, what would you say, like paused by the sanctions were put back, but so Bo's question there, and Dan, I don't think the Irish courts would ever host non-Irish citizens, as obviously they're Irish courts. I think her question was regarding bar transfers and helping more newer. I hate saying more newer, but the newer nations with setting up their judicial systems. There we go. And then we have FrancisButlerYeats, leader of Fianna Fáil, and Taoiseach's response here, which I do, forgive me, I will read off the chat logs because I was zoned out. Here we are, his response. Given the fact that I'm Taoiseach of Ireland, and I would not want to enshrine our view of law onto any other nation, I wouldn't want to enshrine such concept as she describes. Bar agreements, however, are in the interest of this government. The TD would know this, Cian Corla, had they read the programme for government. And then he continued, and as to whether or not Ireland's role to dictate how other nations operate their judiciary, the answer is obviously no. That's Foreign Affairs 101, really. Still stood. So let's be honest here. The party in opposition, the TD represents Cian Corla, is more concerned with rabble rousing than actually setting a record in this Dáil. The attendance rate of 25% is sure to be what the people voted for. So that's a response from Taoiseach there. And claims from the Fine Gael benches that the Taoiseach did not answer the question. But I do feel, in fact, although he ended with a snipey comment, he did in fact answer the question with clarifying that bar transfers were in the interest of the government. And we have a Fianna Fáil backbencher here. I believe he's Fianna Fáil anyway. He has the mullet, so I would be. No, I would assume. Oh, it's a Social Democrat. Well, there we go. The question is to Taoiseach, the Taoiseach on Taoiseach, I think. We've seen the signing of the historic July agreement. And the minister behind the July agreement resigned yesterday after only a week. And has completely vanished out of the country's borders, which in my opinion proves the government's dedication to actual foreign affairs, unlike the opposition says. My question is, will we build of this, Cian Corla? We have a lot of Social Democrats every week asking questions to their own Taoiseach, which I know it's like, okay. Will we continue the momentum? I feel like this session could be over within 5 minutes once Bo has done her soundbite. But obviously the government like to ask themselves questions. Well, not the government, the Social Democrats like to ask their government questions. And then the Taoiseach is risen. To answer the question. And then hopefully the session will then be over. This question being answered.
So we're just ignoring that act of terrorism the president just did there.
Yeah, I'm going to remove his admin.
You're going to Brazil!
Hilsa, your admin is being removed as we speak, so have your fun, because you're never getting that shit back. You shoot me again, I fucking swear. Apologies there for the momentary pause in commentary. I had to deal with the childish Uachtaráin here, whose admin is being removed from the script. Anyways, the commentary will continue on the session now, with Killian's admin being removed for next time. We have a question faced to the government from Fine Gael, who's acting as the leader, I suppose. This government needs to modernise the public's perception of the ambulance service so that the public can whatever. Taoiseach, you're Taoiseach claimed he did so much for the NAS. But yet there has been no mention of the NAS from SD for months. The Taoiseach actually did contact me today regarding the National Ambulance Service in private, which is far more effective than speaking about it in the Dáil. And I am the Deputy Chief Ambulance Officer, so he is making efforts. However, you can't legislate activity, so... And now we have the response from Taoiseach. Second, let me read it from the logs. The TD has lied to the House. He said there has been no mention by the Social Democrat in months with regards to the NAS. A statement that was released just a few moments ago by the NAS. Second. And also, we literally mentioned in our PFG a few days ago. So once again, the Fine Gael benches proving how out of touch they are. Which is not an opinion. It is just, well, it is an opinion, a public opinion, which I will reiterate on. I'm on live telly. And the deputy has withdrawn his comments.
Can I just say, I think it's really sad Brian O'Kearney is still being forced to sit in the door in his condition right now. So I think it's understandable that he stood up randomly for I think around 5 minutes without speaking. Okay, sorry with the issues with the stream.
Now we have the deputy accusing the Fine Gael benches of being planted with Brits on the basis that instead of saying on Taoiseach, the deputy said the Taoiseach, which there's really not much difference, but for authenticity, you would want to say on. And that is, in fact, when Brian is an Englishman himself who constantly talks about the Royal Navy. So it feels a bit like a glass house moment, but here we are. Niamh, yeah. No, the deputy has risen. Or does the government want to continue to prevent me from asking it regarding a question? When will the government commit to renewed When will the government commit to renewed commitment to the National Ambulance Service? Cian Corla, frankly, that question was like a train wreck in real time, says on Taoiseach FrancisButlerYeats, as he's risen in response to the Fine Gael deputy's question. Looking beautiful as ever with that lovely hair and the eyebrows that actually go into the hair. First, quote, modernise the public perception of the NAS. End quote. I'm sorry, exactly when was the NAS perceived in the past? It's a modern body. I don't even think the deputy knows what he meant when he wrote that. Quote, commit to renewed commitment, end quote. This is the state of your opposition, ladies and gentlemen. A comment from on Taoiseach there about the competency of the Fine Gael opposition bench.
Wow, really tumultuous Dáil sitting today.
Killian, are you here to apologise?
Sorry, what was that?
Are you here to apologise? Let me be clear. I've already discussed with the members of the NAS about their concerns, says on Taoiseach.
I'm glad you've spoken with the National Ambulance Service, but I don't think I need to apologise. I think I just logged on. I don't know.
Mm,
Hey, both of
yourself.
you stop being fucking cunts, okay? Thanks. Just be nice. Neve, that goes for you too. Quit being a fucking cunt.
Okay. Deputy Bow can post a ChatGPT-esque statement of a political quip from Badenoch all she likes, but the parties that actually change in our group sit in the that do actual change in our group sit in these government benches, I think he said. Any response from the bench over there? No, they're silent. They're so upset by the truth, they can't stop talking during the answer because they don't really care about the answers. Really? They seek no truth in this chamber. Their leaders are useless, says Taoiseach FrancisButlerYeats, making his opinion very clear. I think after this I'll bring up Bo once the session is what would you say? Not dismissed. What's the language? I forgot. Adjourned, that's the one. Cian Corla, Verified Glory has interrupted me twice after his incoherent question. I feel he should have another shot at asking a real interesting question. Here, pal, I'll give you another shot, says Taoiseach towards the Fine Gael deputy. Deputy Bo Warren has risen and has been called on by Taoiseach to speak. What party is that single one in the red shirt from? Yeah. Oh yeah, sorry. Grandma got Ma spelt wrong, as per usual. Bo Cian Corla. If we want business growth, we need incentives that work and that are inclusive. If we want business growth, we need incentives that work and are inclusive. So, unfortunately, Bo has just copy and pasted her question twice, which is a shame. Say it twice because it's so nice. The deputy uses to cover up her accidental double copy and paste. Shame they don't believe in it, says the deputy. But we saw the last government favour the media sector, but failed to cater for all business sectors. So here we have. My dog needs to shut his mouth. Sorry. Buster, get down! Sorry. Why has the Taoiseach not scrapped the soft-style Journalist of the Week scheme for a better alternative? So there the deputy is suggesting scrapping a scheme, but not actually proposing any new scheme. Buster, stop barking! Apologies there. And Taoiseach has risen in response to the question. Why would I scrap something that leads to an incentivized media? We have one of the best media sectors in the nation. Well, I'd hope the nation's media sector is the best in the nation. But I assume he meant in the globe. She would know this if she wasn't asleep at the wheel, says Taoiseach. She represents a party that proposed abolishing the press council, only to have her own party post what can only be described as, quote, opinion, but really propaganda, end quote. I know it's hard for the deputy to register anything in terms that don't begin with, I hate this, but this is a situation obviously conjured up as, oh, sorry. The Irish people are starting to have enough of this performative politics, says on Taoiseach FrancisButlerYeats, in relation to the Fine Gael performance on the opposition benches in these 2-3 weeks of the term. No, it's a week, hasn't it? And honestly, maybe if the leader of the opposition decides to not attend the next session, that this Dáil considers expulsion measures. So there, the Taoiseach is suggesting expulsion for the leader. I don't think the Dáil can vote to expel a member unless it's on. I invite the deputy, Cian Corla, to ask real questions instead of pre-written copy and pasted ones. We need not see it for a second time. Not much substance was there in the first question. Motion to minister's questions from the Taoiseach. How long's the session been on for? 28 minutes. I'm not sure. Don't the standing orders say something about how long they can last? Or is that nominations? I don't know. I should probably check. Probably should know that. And then a question from the Fine Gael minister once again, not minister, deputy. I'm aware I was absent this week, so I'll ask the question I wanted to ask then now. Sorry, I need to get back on commentating instead of being distracted. You were present at the NAS debate that the Green Party called, says the Fine Gael deputy, referencing the now dissolved Green Party. God rest its soul. All tags from the Fine Gael deputy there. During that debate, oh, who's this? The Fine Gael leader has shown up. Oswald is in the chamber for the third time. Third. Well, it's because there's someone else there. Social Democrats were suggesting that abolishing the NAS was an option. So, Taoiseach, my question is, are you okay with being in government with a party that... So what he said there is basically the Social Democrats, who are now in coalition with the Fianna Fáil, suggested actually dissolving the NAS, and now the Fianna Fáil government is dedicated to preserving that same service. Look, I feel as though if Fianna Fáil has made it clear they want to keep the NAS, then that is what's going to happen. I don't know why there's need for further discussion. However, here we are. I would like to hear, however, some plans from Fine Gael, what they'd do for the NAS. So I might get one of them up after, since they are doing all this talk in the Dáil, and I'd like to hear some of their policies, since we didn't actually get to see a PFG from them. So it's quite a grey area in terms of what they'd actually do themselves. Pardon? Oh, 1 second. Quick answer. 1, different leadership. 2, the member brought up the campaigning. And then the previous debate before that, campaigning, because he probably forgot the Social Democrats campaign to keep the NAS, says Taoiseach FrancisButlerYeats. Pardon me. All this to say, why is he confused when we obviously answered this in minister statements and the PFG? This is just mediocre question. Just a mediocre question, sorry. And that is from Taoiseach. There has been a motion to move to Minister's Questions with Leader of Fine Gael Rising, Mr. Facilio Quinley/Oswald. The motion to move to Ministers seemingly has passed the voice vote. Yeah. Has he asked the question yet, or is he just stood in silence? Why is it that that he is so utterly incapable of running a government so much that the minister resigns a week into his leadership of this nation? Now, I feel like this is totally a glass house situation, with the Fine Gael attendance being 25%, with Oswald having only attended, let me just check. This is his second session that he's attended, and he's attended 0 sessions to the full amount. He's been ejected from one, didn't attend one without excuse, and was late/left early for 2, or was excused and not there. Here is the response from Taoiseach. This is a soundbite attempt by the deputy because he knows he's lost most confidence from the citizens of Ireland after his party's 25% attendance record. Dean resigned. I accepted his resignation, yet we got more done in that week than Fine Gael has done during their stint in government. The July agreement, which I'm sure the deputy has no idea actually entails communication with multiple governments, such as the United States, South Sudan, etc. Point of order, deputy lying to the chamber per usual from the Taoiseach there. Obviously from calling the deputy a failure and, quote, did absolutely nothing after I literally gave evidence of the work we were doing. Deputy Oswald, Mr. 30 minutes late. Absolutely usually quantifies a provable claim since it's absolute. There we go. And the reason I was silent was because I'm helping the Ceann Comhairle, okay? The Ceann Comhairle is now talking on this point of order regarding how Oswald has misled the chamber, claiming the government has done nothing. I do not believe the Taoiseach has achieved anything through these meetings, says Oswald. 2 members are risen at the same time, notably. And there is a point of order on the government bench. The Ceann Comhairle is just deliberating. So, have we moved to ministers' questions yet? Okay, right. And this sitting by the standing orders can continue until 9:15 at the absolute latest. Isn't it funny that as soon as Oswald shows up, we have, stopped actually asking questions and it's just gone to this immediate cycle of point of orders and crossbench arguing. Heckling, if you will. Deputy Oswald, you still have to withdraw or amend and remove the word absolutely from your statement, says Ceann Comhairle, regarding the deputy's statement saying the government has done absolutely nothing, which unfortunately is not true. Unfortunately for Oswald, is not true, because absolute is a definitive statement, and the government has in fact released, 7 pieces of legislation that have all been passed, both chambers, and a international treaty. There he goes, and the deputy is rewording his statement to the following. God. I do not believe the Taoiseach has achieved anything through the actions he has taken. Perhaps he has done things, but in my view, they do nothing to further Ireland in any way at all. I don't need to say anything about that statement because I think everyone in the audience and in the country can talk about, who's done stuff for Ireland and who hasn't. I'd love to welcome Oswald onto the stage after, but I don't think he's watching. I wonder. No. Are we surprised? And then we have a point of order from a Social Democrat on the government bench here. Grandma Ceann Comhairle. Oh, goodness. Yeah. I'm pretty sure the Deputy Beau has accused An Taoiseach as being a loyalist minister for Gibraltar. If you could chat the chat logs, Grandma Guts. The Leader of the Opposition just claimed that our points of order are meant to silence him, says True Donald, former Taoiseach. We have always used point of orders to uphold the integrity of this chamber through our point of orders. Can we please stop wasting our precious time on these absolutely protrucent point of orders, says Fine Gael leader Oswald. I feel like, you know, he's probably anxious about wasting time because he did, in fact, miss the Taoiseach's questions as he only joined 30 minutes into the session. So I'm assuming he's hoping to earn that time back, unfortunately. Bless him. And we have Oswald saying, thank you, Cian Corla, for defending us. The first time ever saying thank you to Jessie, actually. Deputy Bowe, please withdraw your statement regarding the minister being a, quote, Gibraltar loyalist, says the Cian Corla. She said this when Francis has never actually been in Gibraltar. Dean Bourne was a loyalist to Gibraltar, Deputy Warren says. Not sure how this is relevant. That is in fact not what she said. Oh wait. Yes, she did say that. She did say that. Okay. Then we have a continued answer from the Taoiseach here, Gormachagut. He starts. The deputy rambles on about precious time. You know, the precious time he was 30 minutes late for, says the Taoiseach in reference to Oswald's late arrival to the session. Too precious for him, I suppose. If he cares to hold this government to account, he can start by being better than never active. Point of order here from the Fine Gael leader, Deputy Oswald. It seems that the individual opposite would rather spend his time visiting nations rather than actually doing something productive for the nation, says Oswald, after claiming the government had done nothing. So this is quite the contradiction. He's now saying the things they have done, meaning they have done things, were a waste of time. So he really should pick a side. I find it curious, what is he quoting? So once again, we have two deputies stood in the chamber at once, arguing across the benches. It's really quite embarrassing here that every time Oswald comes into the Dáil, it quite clearly disrupts the business so obliviously. It seems he is misleading the Dáil by quoting someone or something that doesn't exist, says Fine Gael leader Oswald. Also, he is stating an absolute by saying never. Again from Fine Gael leader. I am here, am I not? I believe the comments made by the Taoiseach were in regards to the deputy's failure to attend for 3 sessions. Has there been 4? I think it's the 4th session, yeah. 5th maybe. The deputy there calling for the Cian Corla to force the Taoiseach to withdraw. Cian Corla, may I point out to you the fact that currently his attendance on the Dáil spreadsheet is 0%, says on Taoiseach, which is true. That is updated after today's session, which he missed half of, and we presume that if he misses half of a session, says the Taoiseach, something, read the spreadsheets, something. Not too hard, Leader of the Opposition. Just more crossbench arguing. I really wish. The Cian Corla here has just asked for verbal affirmation that the deputies do understand that if there is any more time wasting, heckling or crossbench arguing, that they will be punished, and that may lead to their subsequent ejection from the chamber. As we have been in the session for 56 minutes, the Fine Gael leader Oswald showed up within 30, and since his arrival there has been countless point of orders and plenty of crossbench arguing between An Taoiseach and the Lotto himself. Cian Corla, the TD, has failed to recognise the most important achievement of the July Agreement. The July Agreement, a peace between ourselves and United Kingdom. This is an absolute proof that this government is achieving results. We even achieved the return of the Ministry of Defence, something that the deputy campaigned on. Says An Taoiseach here in his response to claims from the Fine Gael leader that they have done nothing. Probably wouldn't have happened with his record of attendance, let's be honest. So while I fulfil all campaign promises and I continue to represent the good of this nation, waiting on the completion of the answer, I invite him to do better in his role as leader of the opposition, a role many great people have filled, says An Taoiseach. The people who voted for him deserve better. The Irish people deserve better. And the leader, Fine Gael, Oswald, has responded saying, that's hilarious. I don't see anything that's funny about. Also, I don't know why he's interrupting a speech when the Cian Corla just clarified that he shouldn't do that. Also, guys, can we look at the back of Oswald's hair? It's so weird. It just like sits on top of his head. In his lengthy yet unsubstantive diatribe about me. Okay, Oswald. Wide vocabulary. And a wide belly as well. Point of order from An Taoiseach. I find it interesting how he used the words should do better when, and then he was cut off by the point of order from An Taoiseach here. See what this is all about. I hate to pull out the dictionary again, but I literally gave a piece of substance in my proof. The July Agreement, says the Taoiseach. And we have reached 1 hour of questions. It was going pretty smooth sailing until the arrival of Oswald. And we've got 2 deputies stood once again, which is in a direct display of disrespect to the chair. The individual is needlessly interrupting the Dáil over point of orders, which are obviously moot, says the Leader of the Opposition. In response, the Taoiseach says, I would like an amendment to the statement and remove the unsubstantiated there as something. Why is the member stood? I'm asking a point of order, says An Taoiseach, which is perfectly expected. There is only to be 1 deputy stood at a time. Deputy Francis do finish, says the Cian Corla, and calls that the point of orders are ridiculous from the Leader of the Opposition here. Gramagat, I asked that he withdraw or amend the word unsubstantiated, says the Taoiseach, really going at the Leader of the Opposition here. I gave substance. It's his job to obviously counter it, not claim I didn't do it. That's a lie, says the Taoiseach. And in response, the Leader of the Opposition said, I didn't say that word. I will check chat logs. This is really a cat fight. He did, in fact, say, let me just check, unsubstantive. Lacking substance. It literally means unsubstantiated. They are synonyms. The Dáil can sit for 13 more minutes. The Taoiseach's point of order was about a claim that the government is and its comments are unsubstantiated, which is a synonym for unsubstantive. Clearly, this debate is over literacy, says the Leader of the Opposition. And to that, I would say, if you don't understand the meaning of a word, then don't use it. If the Deputy requires a definition of the word, I'm happy to provide it. He doesn't in fact need that, because I have just read out. Unsubstantive means lacking substance, importance, or value. So there you go. That's the dictionary definition. Clearly, this has become a debate of literacy rather than fact and opinion, says the Leader of the Opposition. It's a joke what this Dáil has become. I think that's rich coming from him when, once again, his attendance is 0%.
I hate to continue on the Oswald hate, but
1 second. The government sitting on those benches would rather discuss nouns and synonyms rather than get across a vision for Ireland. Once again, very rich. No PFG from Fine Gael. One second.
This isn't even a debate, though. It's
No, it's not. It's just a cat fight. Then from Taoiseach, point of order. Let me read it out. Point of order. He's obviously shirking the rule. He's taking you for granted, and he's taking our people for granted. He went from unsubstantive to unsubstantiated. That isn't merited amendment, says Taoiseach, once again calling for another reword. And I think if I was the Ceann Comhairle, I would say Oswald's ran his course. This is a direct disruption of the business of the Dáil. And Taoiseach has said, and now he's abusing the point of order. He doesn't have the guts to amend it fairly and reasonably. Unsubstantiated to unsubstantive. This is disruption. I ask for action, Gramahagat, says the Taoiseach.
The thing is, Oswald hasn't even been in the session for most of the time, and he's allowing himself to be drawn into this and allowing for time to be wasted. Like, he's very obviously being led on, and he's just allowing it to happen.
I know. I feel you would think he'd be smarter than that. Did Oswald get back to you about coming for an interview?
No,
he said no.
He doesn't usually like coming on RTÉ anyway. He'll say his whole speech and then he'll immediately come off and then start going behind our backs and saying it's a terrible organisation.
I know. Well, as Killian Clark says, you need to control the narrative, and that is certainly something that Oswald does not do well. Under Standing Order 44, Deputy Oswald, you have been ejected from the chamber. So that is his second strike of the term here. Oh, wait, yeah, second.
Fresh meat.
There he goes. And that is his second. It is the second strike because an absence unauthorized is not a strike unless there's two consecutive ones. So that's his second strike there. Just to be clear, absence strikes work on a 2-for-1 basis. So 2 unauthorized absences is 1 strike, then 4 is a second, then 6 is 3, which is expulsion from the Dáil. So Oswald has one more chance to get on the straight and narrow before he is once again expelled from Dáil Éireann. Oswald has declined interview on RTÉ. Bo, you will be brought up after the session has adjourned. And we have a question or a point of order here. I shall be brief. Believe me, this is very annoying, being here for more than an hour. I must say, Ceann Comhairle, it is an absolute disgrace. Is this a point of order? It doesn't sound like it, unless he's shaping up for one. Oh, it's a statement. Okay. That the opposition attends meetings in other nations rather than attending the Dáil. The government, says the Social Democrat here, Emperor. Wait, is that? No, that's not Emperor, sorry. Sits here every Friday and every Saturday while the opposition drinks their dry martinis and relaxes in Calais, in reference to Fine Gael's trip to France, in Sudan or whatever. Point of order from the Fine Gael Deputy Bowarn. If we get the cameras over there, please, Dan. Thank you very much. Thank you, my lovely. Gurmahagat Kian Corla, says the deputy, with the mic between her legs. The deputy has misled the chamber, she says. The chat logs are once again being opened. I wasn't in France. I was at Downing Street. So. Oh, Bo, the way I love you, please. Unlike him, I don't sit around and do nothing. Yeah. So the point of order from Bo Warren is dismissed on the grounds that the comment was not directed at her, rather the party itself, which is true. May I continue? Cian Corla Gurmahagut, says the deputy in the Social Democrat benches. It is an absolute shame, he starts. See this house be absolutely mistreated to see. We, the government, have valiantly sat here pushing change for the Irish people. And the worst thing, the opposition is not even here to challenge it, which is true. In the last legislative sitting, which was literally last Saturday, there was one Fine Gael TD present. I would have respect for the opposition if they were here. Giving us feedback live on this floor, but no. They aren't here half the time. It's actually, they're not there more than half of the time. Their leader has, and say it with me, point of order from Taoiseach there. And finishing their statement, the leader of Fine Gael has 0% attendance. Sorry, this is Deputy Bowes, like 15th time interrupting Deputy Blah, says Taoiseach with a point of order. So is Deputy Verified's interruption Cian Corla, we had a final warning a few minutes ago, yet they continue to abuse the sanctity of this Dáil, quite clearly pushing for more ejections today of the Fine Gael bench. I ask for this to be handled, says an Taoiseach, with blah blah rising to complete his statement, I'd assume, with permission from the Cian Corla when she has dealt with this point of order. It is quite a hard one because with ejecting a whole party bench, there comes a lot of accusations of bias and corruption. However, when you have displayed such disrespect to the chamber and its members, like Fine Gael has done today, which I think is not really an opinionated statement to make, it's an observation, really. I think anyone that has watched this stream or has sat in the galleries today can make that deduction from what we've seen on the Fine Gael bench. And the TD for the Social Democrats on the government bench, blah blah, continues. Gurmahagut. To finish off my speech, I plead. Oh, do we have a decision here from the Cian Corla? The opposition to do their job, says the Social Democrat TD. I will tell the benches that they are on their final warning, says the Cian Corla, in regards to their disruption and heckling. They will be ejected if they misbehave once again, says the Cian Corla. There are 3 minutes left that this chamber can lawfully sit, as per the standing orders. They are supposed to oppose by the rules of this house, says the Social Democrat TD, blah blah, I don't care. Not heckle, he says, which is quite true. I think anyone who can read and speak English understands that opposition and the opposition bench is intended to oppose, not to scream across the floor, says Deputy blah blah. So I beg one last time, act like the opposition. That you are supposed to be. Gurmahagut loves, says the Social Democrat TD, with probably the final statement of the sitting, which has, we've got 2 motions to adjourn from the Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil benches. Mr. Sunday and Verified Glory. We have a second for the motion, another second, which is a third. The motion to adjourn, is it agreed, is the question being asked here. It has passed the voice vote and the session is adjourned. Well, we will now, don't leave, because we're going to move to just for I'd say a good 15-20 minutes depending. If Bo would like to come up, I'd love to speak to someone from Fine Gael if that would be possible. Okay, no singing. Right, Bo. With the ejection of your leader, whose attendance is unfortunately still at 0%, your
We'll be ending the stream here, so please make sure to continue. No, please make sure to continue.